So just give me a second. Some reason chat. Okay, this is my setting. Somewhere it should be, but I have no idea where it is. So anyway, I'll use. But again, if I don't have chat option, then a lot of things which I need to give access to you. Right? Just give me just few more minutes. Some reason that I'm not able to find. But again, let me not waste time. Sorry. Let me get started, and we'll think about that sometime later. Right. So sorry for that. So okay, let's get started. I'm Sanjeev from Webson, and I'll be the trainer, okay, who will be teaching you the AWS. I do teach AWS. I do teach the Google. I do teach the Azure, and sometime IBM Cloud and Alibaba. Right? And also I have extensive experience in OpenStack, VMware Cloud Director, if any private cloud deployment happens. So these are the kind of technologies that I work in terms of cloud. Along with cloud, my focus is into the DR and security. So now DR and security is emerging into one vertical. So that is where my focus is as of now or going forward. So that's what I do. Overall experience I have now 19.2 years, more or less, and focused entire career. I moved from the virtualization, networking to virtualization to data center consolidation, migration, then enter into the world of cloud in early 2011. And since then the vendor has been changing. I have been picking different cloud, and I have been working on them. And in during weekend, I do teach. The reason why I teach is, it makes me or keeps me up to date. I know what is happening in each cloud vendor. And second thing, when I'm up to date, when I go and meet a customer client, life becomes easier for me. That I know what they want, right? What they are talking. Now giving them the right solution becomes easier for me. So that's all about me, right? And this is the, sorry, I was a bit lazy. I did not modify. This would be my email address. Just give me a second. So my email address will be sanjeev@webson.com. I'll just update in a second. So this will be my email address. And as of now, I work for Google, where my role is, I work as a technology enablement, mentor, where my role is to enable the partners, the solution architect, engineers from various partners like Capgemini, Kyndryl, Accenture, and so on. So the global system integrators. So that is the role where I do cross grooming, educating them on Google Cloud, Google DevOps, Google Security, then doing comparison study. When somebody working on AWS Cloud now is coming to Google, or they want to support a customer who is using AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud, along with that, they want to use Google. So those comparison study, right? That's what I do with the partners. And when not busy mentoring or teaching, I work as a solution architect or enterprise architect. So that's all about me. So you can go in, or whenever you get time, okay, you can go and check in LinkedIn. The details are there of my LinkedIn profile in this particular session. You can have a look whenever you want, right? And we can be in touch. Any help that you need in terms of learning, in terms you need some guidance, imagine some documentation you need, you can always reach out to me. So that is what we would do. And thank you all for taking time and joining us today. Focus would be about our training, the training that I do. So just letting you know, today and tomorrow, right, is for everyone, right? And from the next Saturday, what I do, I start a 8 weekend program. Right? So this becomes our 9 weekend program. Typically, I take 8 to 9, minimum 8 weekend, maximum it can go 1 or 2 weekend extra because depending on how many questions we have, right? So that's where I take like 8 to 10 weekend to complete this solution architect training because we would connect only Saturday, Sunday. So in this session, what we do, how different we want to, okay? So the approach which I take is like hybrid in nature, right? And this is what even we recommended or I recommended in Google, and that's what we are doing in Google even from last 1.5 years. Because we do understand 99% of the audience who comes to my session are working like you, right? You might have experience of 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, and so on in various domain. Couple of you would be developer, couple of you would be DevOps engineer, couple of you would be coming from infrastructure side, the Windows, the Linux, the VMware, the network, and so on. Now you are already expert in the domain that you work, but now you want to get the new skill. You want to, if you're a developer, you want to be a better developer to understand the cloud better so that you can use the cloud native solutions. Okay? You can understand the Kubernetes service, you can understand the Lambda service, you can understand the databases, right? You can understand the various services, API integrations, and all we can do in whichever cloud. Today, let's talk about AWS. And that is where you want to have more hands-on. So a lot of people in my sessions, maybe even today, I get around 20 to 30% people who have already completed certification, maybe 1 year, 1.5 years, maybe 2, 3 months back, but they are not able to clear the interview. See, we all know, right? If you have written the certification, you know. See, certification is one thing. I'm not telling it's easy, but writing a certification, you need to have a different mindset. You need to practice, you need to prepare through dumps, you need to have reasoning skills so that you can narrow down between the 4 options that you have got, choose the right options and all. But clearing a interview is a different ball game altogether. There is very less correlation between having certification and able to get a job in cloud. And that's when I see a lot of people struggle. They have like series of certification. I know one student of mine, student come friend, right? Friend, then he became a student, more or less. So he had 7 certification from every vendor, more or less. Then plus one Kubernetes certification CK, but still he was struggling to switch into cloud. Then I realized that when we started talking, then I had to counsel him. Then I understood theoretically he's very good. Theory wise he's superb. But when he go and meets a interview panel and they start asking you the real time scenario, they give you a situation. That is where he was getting stuck. Then I told him, change the approach. Let's spend more time in lab. Unfortunately, I cannot give you production environment. Production environment will be the best thing to learn. I cannot give you, correct? So what is the workaround? The workaround is lab. Let's spend time in lab, make our hands dirty as much as possible. It's all about patience game, how much patience you have, okay? How much in-depth practice you want to do. It's all about that. So when we spend time in the lab, build the solution, deploy the solution. First time when you're building it, keep our design simple. Second time, change, design. Third time, make it more complicated. So each time you change the design or approach, right, the workload that you deploy, different problem we all will get. And we would learn from each problem. And that is what will be the closest to the production environment experience. You will get problem while deploying it. If you deploy, when you start running your workload or application, then you start getting problem Then you would start thinking about, okay, how to fine tune the application. Maybe it was running good for a couple of days, suddenly it will start breaking. Then you will start troubleshooting, correct? The RCA, the root cause analysis or postmortem. And that is where we start learning more and more. So that is the approach which we take. So that is what we will do. So setting the expectation. So my session typically is for people who want to get in depth into technology. You would have certification, maybe not. If whether you have or not, different matter, does not matter actually. So whether you have the certification, if you don't have certification, but you have two goals. One of the goal is to do certification. We take care of that parallelly when we are learning. So when you know each and every component in detail, it's easy to crack the certification. So of course, in end, I'll suggest you follow dumps, but in beginning, don't get behind dumps. Let's talk technology. So when you deploy, build, troubleshoot, things becomes more clear. Second thing, each time when you're building, okay, deploying, take a customer scenario, build it. Think about a startup company, think about a SME company, think about enterprise company, and build according to that. So if you build a same application, imagine you are deploying a Kubernetes cluster for a startup company. You are building for a medium-sized company, then you are building for enterprise, telecom, or healthcare or banking. Approach would change because you need to put the compliances in places. And that is when we learn. Now, when you go to interview panel or you're meeting a customer client, and if they have a requirement, they're telling you this is what customer want, you can analyze, you can understand what would be the best solution for that. And that is where we would spend more time. So point is, so next 10 weekends, okay, including today, we would focus more on labs. And I have a habit of giving you homework. So people who would be again continuing from next Saturday, I'll know, okay, you are seriously interested. So point is we would spend more and more time in lab. So 2 weeks will work like 2.5 or 3 hours. Let's see how much we can. In beginning, I'll go with around 1.5 to 2 hours because it'll be tough for me to make you sit for like 2.5 hours in day one. Then gradually you'll increase to 3 hours kind of thing. So 3 plus 3, 6 hours we spend together in this workshop, virtual workshop. Then I give you certain homeworks. You do that, come back with collection of questions. So next Saturday we clear them first. Then move to the subsequent topics. That way this communication or this training will be, what you call, more interactive, right? And the things that we can learn would be more. The idea that we can exchange would be more. So with that layout, we would be going. And again, I have a habit of asking a question. Suddenly I'll open a dump like examtopics.com. We all follow, correct? At least I follow. Or most of you would be following, I guess. But for sure I follow. So I open that examtopics.com. I pick a real exam from the AWS. Then let's discuss on that. Like 4 or 5 exam question every weekend. So 10 weekend, even if I take a law of average 4 question per weekend, 10 weekend we are discussing 40 actual question from dumps, right? Why one option is correct, why all others are wrong. So that will be our approach, right? And this is the approach with which I take forward, right? And our motto is to not only do the certification. I know certification is a primary milestone, but the larger goal is to really know the cloud, in our case, AWS today, right? AWS Solution Architect Associate, right? That's where we are focused at. And then that is our core goal. So no matter whether you're meeting an Indian customer, European customer, North American customer, whether you are meeting for consulting, whether you're meeting for interview, does not matter. You should have the confidence because you have built, deployed, troubleshooted. It's not the video gyan or theoretical gyan that you have got by reading or watching some videos. You have done it. So that confidence nobody can give you. You can only get while doing it. So that would be our core goal, right? And just give me 5 minutes, then I'll open for questions, okay? So here, this will be, just give me a second and let me go to the AWS certification path. So you all would know by now if you have done your homework. But if not, you need to do the homework. So AWS as a big cloud company, market leader in the public cloud sector, has a lot of product and they have a lot of certification. All the certifications that you see are aligned towards job role. So this is the first certification if you are not aware, the foundational track, the certification practitioner, cloud practitioner, the foundational track. You don't have to do it. So this by default, I'll be teaching in this. So do not, if anyone has a plan to do it, you don't need to pay anyone extra money, right? In website, we don't teach this as separate. We by default club this one with associate. So if anyone has planned to do this separately because your company has asked or you have a goal, a certification goal, no need to join somewhere for paying money, nothing to worry. This by default will be teaching you the associate level. Then you have the associate level tracks. You have solution architect associate, the most popular certification in today's world. When you talk about cloud, this is the most popular certification, the AWS solution architect associate. You can do your homework, right? You'll get, this will be the most common across the globe. So then this is meant for everyone. So actually, right, people who would be working as a cloud operation team, cloud migration team, right? You would become in future solution architect, enterprise architect. So this is where you will start from. This becomes the basic building block, the foundation. So everyone I suggest, whether you are coming from infrastructure background, development background, DevOps background, QA background, in testing background, any background you come, your focus is in long run, you want to become expert, cloud expert, I mean, in our case, AWS expert. This one I would suggest you. This would be your first basic building block. Now imagine somebody is developer. I know, like in my session, I know Muthu, I spoke with him. He's a developer, just random story, picking his name. Okay, so now he's a developer and he does not know he's developer. His core focus is he want to know for his development, but he want to know about what AWS has to offer for developer. That is when we have the developer associate. But imagine his job was, okay, I would be a good developer, but I want to know little bit of AWS. Then AWS developer associate. But if his core goal is no, I want to go beyond developer. I want to in future, I want to become enterprise architect, application architect. Then this would not be enough. Again, coming back here, right? Then they are like cloud operation team, right? So cloud operation team, the support team, right? The people who support 24/7 work, right? Whose job is to deploy VM, take the backup, take the snapshot, troubleshoot the OS performance, troubleshoot the application performance day to day. SysOp. So we do have SysOp certification for cloud support team, for development team. Do not worry, even if you want to learn this, so 30% from here, 30% from here, I take and I add it. Because I know you are coming to learn solution architect, a lot of people, but still I try to add everything from here, cloud practitioner, everything. Then around 20 to 30% from development track and 20 to 30%, maybe 40% from the SysOp track. So one of the primary goal for us was to do certification, but that's not the only goal. Core goal is to become expert. Right? We should know in and out of AWS cloud. No matter who the customer is, what is the requirement, we should be able to listen to their requirement, understand the requirement, and start giving them the solution. And for that, entire ecosystem, knowing the ecosystem is important. Then couple of security things also I'll pick in it later on. That's security best practice. But again, same time, not to confuse you or overburden you with a lot of information. I try to hold my temptation, right, and try to focus around. So certification target is AWS Solution Architect Associate, but from the role, for example, if I pick this one, and always I talk about it, think about real time. So this is the solution architect. Imagine in long run, you would want to go and have a job. Just random example. So if I go, let's do a comparison. So when I go to the LinkedIn and let me just go here, job somewhere. When I go to job and when I talk about, I pick AWS solution architect associate, solution architect. So when I pick AWS solution architect, me, sitting in Bangalore, so it picked by default India. I'll let, across India, fine. Or you can give your town, city or country, wherever you are from. So when you see the solution architect and India, the reason why I'm using, or LinkedIn, you can use anything, Naukri, Monster, whichever you like. LinkedIn I prefer. The reason is here I'll not see duplicate posting and all. I'll not see posting from third-party vendors. They'll be from actual companies. So if you see here AWS Solution Architect within India, these are the companies who are hiring from so and so cities. Right? So if I take just random example, TCS, just random story. If I pick TCS Cloud Architect and see what they are asking you. See, here they are asking you multiple cloud because 8 to 10 years or 12 years of experience. So senior position, always companies would ask you multi-cloud. But again, hold your temptation. Don't try to do everything in one go. So if you are starting AWS, first learn AWS, become comfortable, then pick the Azure, Google, whatever you want. In long run, we all have to be multi-domain knowledgeable. Okay? Multiple cloud plus DevOps we should know in long run. But don't try to do in same time. It becomes too much confusing and you cannot concentrate on everything. So let's tackle one by one. But again, my point was the reason why I'm showing you here, read the JD. When you read the JD, then you know what company want. See, it's good to learn, but 99 point time, you would want to go and find a job for you. Maybe within the company, maybe you would want to switch a job to next company. You want to grow in career. Everybody want, right? So when you are searching that job, which are your dream companies? Search like TCS I just mentioned. Now see here what they're asking you. Designing best practice. See here. So they are talking about designing because 8 years, like anyone who is 6+ years, this is where you will be targeted. You need to know all the design best practice, security, DevOps. See, automation will come some point in time. See, somewhere Terraform I saw, right? So you will come into those things. So here you have technical. Then again, what they are talking about? They are talking about someone. This job is suitable for someone who is coming from data center background, someone who has worked on data center, VMware and all, virtualization, storage backup. This becomes the best option. They are the suitable candidate for them. And see, they have asked you Terraform automation. If not Ansible or in AWS cloud formation, but Terraform people generally use vendor neutral. So always read the JD. Same way, any job you like, suppose you want to apply for EY, then EY again, good company to work with, right? So again, check here what they want. See here again, read. So here they want AWS knowledge with someone coming from the big data solutions, someone who has worked on the Python, someone who has worked on the ETL, data warehousing and so on. So all I try to educate you or grab your attention. See, learning is good, knowledge is good, but where do you use it? Are you coming, you are happy with your job and you're coming here to learn and do better job in your current organization, okay? Be a better cloud expert. That can be one goal. That time you don't have to worry about searching company. That time you go and search your internal, the client requirement, customer requirement, you know what they want. Focus on that domain, that area. But if you're looking for switching your job within the company, IJP or to another company, or you want to migrate to some other city or country, we all have our own goal, correct? So you know your goal. Now research it. Check which is going to suit you. So when we have a proper research, proper homework done, we will narrow down. For example, one of my friend, he wanted to move to Germany. He moved last October. And that is when I helped him. Okay, he told he wanted to move to Europe. I told no, that's too vague. Europe, there are n number of countries where you want to move. Then he narrowed down. He took 2-3 weeks. Then he came back with three answers. He told Netherlands, Germany, and France. Then I asked why. Then he had his own research because he had researched. Then we narrow down best. We thought, okay, let's pick Germany and Netherlands. Okay? The reason is common language. If you know German or Dutch, similar in nature. Then we saw the market opportunity. Then we saw suddenly the German market was much better. You have to do neck to neck research. Then we saw what will help him. Then we focus on Azure because all the requirement that we were getting from Germany, most of time they were asking about Azure. Azure with Office 365, with Intunes and all. In that area we focused, and hardly took like 6 to 7 months. Okay, he was able to move or relocate. So all I'm trying to tell, use this approach. Just working hard would not help us. But same time, there's no alternative of working hard, or hard work is the most important thing in life. There's no alternative. I don't believe in shortcut. I believe in smartness, knowing what is going to happen, doing your homework and practicing accordingly. But there's no shortcut. Don't take any illegal or shortcut ways. I don't believe in them. Right? So I prefer to do a proper homework, then put my effort on that direction. And naturally we can get a better result. So that's what I believe. So all of you, I would give you homework in future. You know what you want. You know already where you are, how many years of experience you have, what kind of work you do, happy, sad, right? Current, what you want, which company you want to. Like we all have dream companies. If you not, make a dream company. Always I do. So I do it for myself, right? So if I go back here, jobs, you'll see it will only show me the job which I have filtered. See here. So it's recommending me, right? In beginning, it will not. Later on, it will start recommending you from your search. LinkedIn will recommend you. So this is showing me these recommendations are coming from previous jobs that I have applied. So then you will not have to spend time. No. So when you have a filtered recommendation coming, this is where you will save time and you will know where you are. For example, if I want to apply for this particular company in infrastructure architect, just a random example. Now I would know what that company want. Right? So here, what they want, I'll know detail. Now I'll know whether I'm ready for that or not. Right? So then I'll go and search. I'll check. Not only that, I go and check about this company. If I was really happy with this JD, I think I'm able to work with them. Then I'll go and check that company. If I go here, particular example, then I'll check if any of my friends are working there. So I know here 31 people have applied. Now, typically what I'll do, I'll go and check how many, do I have a common friend? So far, no, nobody is working here. So typically I'll go and speak with them, someone. Hey guys, hi, hello or something, if I know them already. If not, I'll send a request and I'll ask them, I'm applying for this company. Can you let me know? Please let me know about the company, the work culture and all. Because at a certain point in time in life, we have to be choosy. You cannot apply anywhere. The job should be great. Along with that, the work culture also need to be great, right? So you get the point. So that is what I do. So point here again coming back. So you need to search what kind of job you want, which city you want, right? And you can see a lot of job I have applied in Netherlands, then Switzerland, Europe, across Europe, I keep on applying. It's not that I want to move there, but I want to know what is happening in that domain market. Then I apply from Singapore, I apply within Bangalore. So I just want to know what is happening in our APAC and Europe. At certain time, I apply for US companies because I teach people I get from across this region. If I know how market is behaving, I can teach them better. So this is what I do. So you can use this, okay? And this also I learned from certain of my mentors, and it worked so far. Okay? And I would suggest you to try it. If it works, good. If not, drop it. Use something else. So that is what we would do. So point here was whatever effort that we are putting it week on week, we have to measure it, whether we are working on the right direction or not. It should not be that you are working for 6 months, 8 months, no result. It happens sometime when people don't have a clear goal in place. So thumb rule is first have a dream, what you want to. So that having that what you call expectation or dream or goal is important. Then what you want to achieve, which company you want to target, which are the dream companies, right? Now, what are the position you are looking for? Whether you want to become solution architect or DevOps or application architect or cloud security expert. So find, no, sometimes you would not know. So make a note, take pen and paper, narrow down what you want, what would make you happy end of the day. Now, happiness is good, but again, are you capable to reach that position? Okay? Now you have to develop the capability. Just dreaming is not going to help, but dream is most important thing. Without dream, nothing is possible. Okay? That's what I believe. Okay? Maybe wrong. So first, most important thing is a dream. You have to dream what you want to achieve. Then we have to have a plan. Third and most important thing, we have to execute it. Right? Having just plan is not going to help. Right? We have to follow them step by step. That is what we would do. So coming back here again, enough of Gyan. So take time, make work on your plan. A lot of you would be having, like I have 30 odd people. Okay? A lot of you would be having or might be done already certification, but you are struggling to get a job. Understand, don't complain that you're not getting job. Try to understand why somebody is not calling you. If you apply for a job and you don't get a call, there's something wrong in your resume or CV, whatever you call. If you are getting the call and you are not able to go beyond third round or fourth round of interview, or you clear everything but nobody is releasing the offer, you have to understand what is going wrong. Then only you can fix it. Right? So doing the self assessment is important along with the hard work that we are going to put. All is required. Everything has its own important. Then only you can crack and get that cream job. Now, getting that cream job or dream job, whatever you call, is one or the first milestone, one of the most important milestone, by the way. But whenever you join that XYZ position, you have to do better. You have to thrive, not survive, thrive. You have to become champion in that particular position, whichever company you work. And for that, we need to have a lot of knowledge, a lot of patience, a lot of knowledge. Keep on practicing. There's no other shortcut which I know of. All I know the hard way. Learn, learn, learn. Right? That's the only thing which I have used. Right? And of course, the research and all I do parallelly. So everywhere, every company in the world, they need engineers, right? And we need job. You have to just find the right target, whether we're suitable for that company, that position. That's all. So we are not doing favor to them, vice versa. They're not doing favor to us. It's a beneficial for both of the company and us. Right? They need a smart solution architect, engineer, and we wanted a better company, better position, and that's what we have to find that particular match. And for that, technical knowledge is more important. I see in market, because I also take interview for certain customer of mine. I take 100 plus interviews to select a single person, because I'm taking interview as a consultant. If I hire wrong person, next time they'll not entertain me. I'll lose that particular consulting offer. So a lot of people have a lot of experience, lot of certification, but when you start asking them technology real time, they don't even defend. I love people who defend, even though you're wrong. I mean, but you try at least. That you're not 100% sure, but you'll tell, let me give you, I'm not sure, but let me try it. I love that attitude. But you're not giving up. You're trying it. You're using your logical approach. You'll tell, I'll see this, I'll see this, I'll see this. So that's what we want. Right? So never give up attitude, learning attitude, right? And you are ready to take up the challenge. That's what any company would want. Rest we can groom. Rest anywhere you go, you learn day after day. You don't have to be champion in day one, but certain mindset is required, and that is what I would try to help you next 10 weeks or weekend. Right? That is where that is where we would focus. Now, moving back, so this will be the certification which I suggest to everyone who is new to the cloud, right? And you want to start your journey with AWS cloud. In long run, you learn Azure, you learn Google. You don't have option. You have to end up learning, because that is what your customer or client would ask or your company would ask. You don't have a say now. In long run, you have to be multi-talented. or multi-domain knowledge cloud-wise. Later on, maybe DevOps, scripting and all, right? But right away, don't try to do everything. First, start with one. And I teach all, by the way, right? I do teach, like I'm official Microsoft certified trainer. I'm official Google Cloud certified trainer. AWS, I'm not, right? I'm only solution architect, but I'm not official trainer because because once I joined Google 1.5 years back, I had the NDA sign. I cannot work with other cloud vendors, official certification. So that's the reason, but Microsoft, I was from 2015 and also that continued. I kept on renewing, but AWS, I never got chance. But I do have the certification. I do have the AWS Solution Architect, the Solution Architect Associate and Professional. Along with that, I have DevOps. 3 certification from AWS I have. Okay. So do not worry. And again, working on this cloud domain from 2011, but various cloud. AWS I picked from 2000, I think 12, I guess, or if I'm not wrong. So close to that. So that is where I'll be walking you, helping you, hand holding you, taking through the various do and don'ts, right? So that is what we would do. Now, first thing first, right? This is what we would start, and this will be the certification. And one thing to remember, the certification changed last May or maybe first week of September, something like August or September. I forgot the exact date. Here you will find somewhere. Okay, so the new certification that we have in market, not new, now 6 or 8 months old, by the way. So this is the new certification. So certification is same, AWS Architect, Solution Architect Associate, but the earlier exam was known as SAA, Solution Architect Associate C02. That was the old. Now the new one is C03. Basically, what happened in cloud, every year new services get added, right? So new topics got added here. So anyone who has done the old certification, nothing to worry. You'll see 90%, not 90, 80% things remain same. 20% you'll see new component getting added. So anyone who has learned AWS Solution Architect Associate C02, nothing to worry. It's the same thing coming with new component getting added. And for people, this is the first time, nothing to worry. We'll be covering the latest one. So don't worry, okay? We'll be focusing on the AWS Solution Architect Associate C03 because you will write certification on this paper. This is what we are targeting. And from here, you can go and get the examination guide. If I pick here, and let me see if I can get this chart, but some reason the earlier people were not able to see the chart. Let me see if you can. So this is the link I have given in the chart. Some reason the chart was not accessible by all. But so this is link in case if you are able to access. So again, whenever you get time, go and know the examination guide. If I click on the examination guide, right, these are the areas you are planning to write this certification. Then what you have to do, you have to know about each and everything. So all the question would be multi-choice question, MCQ, okay? And a lot of time you'll get a radio tab. You have to pick one out of the 4. Sometime you'll get a square box where you have to, they'll ask you pick 2 accurate or suitable. So you have one question, 4 option, square box, you have to pick 2, write 2, right? So that is where you have to, that will be the only format of your exam. There's no lab, no simulation, nothing, right? And then again, in examination, we'll have 50 question, right? And on which you'll be scoring, right? And the passing percentage is 70%, more or less, right? So to pass the examination. So that is what we would focus, right? So out of here, and you need to get minimum 720 numbers out of 1000 to pass the examination. So around 70% something. Now here 70+%, actually 71 or something. So here this is the examination. If you do the breakup, right? So the 30% question would come on the design and secure, create a secure design architecture, right? 30%. Then again, create a resilience or highly available architecture, 26%. Then build application for higher performance, basically auto scaling, etc., etc. Then cost optimization. So cost optimization has become suddenly important because every customer complain. If you go to LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of jokes people making, right? that they became bankrupt because they forgot to power off a server and so on. So now AWS understood that and they have made cost optimization the key area. You can see around 20% question would come from the optimization. How to build a cost optimized architecture, how to save money. Whether you're building virtual machine, the EC2, or whether you're building containers, the EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, whether you're running any managed service, how do you optimize for the cost? So that is where we focus. And this is how your examination breakup would look like. And these are the topics, subtopics. If you see in details, these are the topics, subtopic, and this is where our core goal will be. So when we learn, we come back, right? And this is the approach which I take. So this is what I'll use. Along with that, okay, like most of you would know. If not, this is what I use. Exam topics. So exam topics is very good, or at least for me, okay, I always refer them any certification that I write. So I've written more than now 52 certification, various cloud, VMware, Cisco and all, then security papers and all. So always I referred them. They were quite helpful for me. So if I go here, Amazon, right, you can see all the, you don't have to buy, do not worry about buying anything. Right? First use the free things that we have. So if I go to the AWS, this is the paper we are talking about, right? AWS Solution Architect C03, 2 is gone, right? So when I click on the C03, here you have like 422, questions, actual question coming from exam. This is what we call dump. So in this examination dump, you have 422 question, and this as per the latest version, which was done like 2 weeks back, 14th March or 3 weeks back. So this is what we have. And I try tell everyone to practice from here. So if I start the practice here for just for random example, then you'll see okay, question. These are the actual question from dumps. Now, this is what I would be making you practice, not now, maybe from 5th or 6th week, sorry, a day, say a third weekend. This is where I'll go because in first weekend we are new, you need to understand things. Third weekend, the 5th day or 6th day, we start picking two or three questions per day. Saturday 2-3 questions, Sunday 2-3 questions. Understand? So even if you see here, reveal the answer. Why A was correct? A is correct, fine. But why A was correct? Why all the three were wrong? So it's not about by hearting. So as we will understand the question, then again, if A is correct, I'll not reveal the question then, right? Or I'll ask you then, if you give answer, then I'll tell, okay, A is correct, perfect, but why A is correct? Why B, C, D are wrong? And that is when I suggest you always go with discussion. This is really, really worth. I have learned a lot from here, believe me. So when you go to real time discussion, this is when they are discussing why certain option was correct, wrong. It is time consuming, I know, but believe me, it's worth your time. So when you practice this way and you know in and out about that particular technology, no matter what job you are applying, whether you are applying job within India or across globe, right? Whether you are meeting a customer, client, or you are going for job role, and let them ask any question. The knowledge that you have now is like well researched, lot of R&D you have done. It's not the you have read certain thing from book, right? So that is what we would suggest. So certain question when I read, we'll try it. For example, certain question will have a scenario, then answer that, then go and try it in lab. Go to lab, create that S3 account or do that and try it out. Actually, it works that way or not. So that way, even after 5 years or 10 years, still whatever you have learned by doing lab, troubleshooting and all, you would rarely forget. Here and there you might forget, but once you recall, you'll be able to recall your entire memory. So that is the one of the approach which I would take. Right? This we'll do from the third weekend because till then we'll have certain basic knowledge which is required to start discussing this, what you call the examination question. So these are the things which I would do along teaching or doing the course. Okay? Just letting you know. In case anybody is practicing and you want to know more, let me give you in chat some reason. Okay? If chat is not visible today, just you can sorry for that. Tomorrow I'll try to fix because tomorrow again we are connecting. So I'll try to fix sometime. Some reason I was lazy. I did not get time to check it early. Actually, I was traveling yesterday night. I did not get time. So I'll check that. But again, that's huge. I'll try to fix that today. And hopefully by tomorrow, all of you should have access to our chat. So this is what we would do parallelly. So I was talking for a long. Now let me take a pause. Right? And if you can, anyone has first thing first. So I totally forgot. Sorry for that. So if anyone like Prasanna, I can see, okay, then Satish and other people, okay. So if you can help me to understand few things. First thing is any question that you have, first ask everyone. Post that. So I give you 5 or 10 minutes to question, ask all the question, and then post that. Just help me to understand it. I know your name. Hopefully they are correct, not your kid's name, because sometimes you connect with your kid's system. Then second is like, how many years of experience you carry, 8 years, 4 year, 5 year, or you're fresh graduate, does not matter. Okay. So then let me know what technology you have been working and what is that you are looking for. Right? Whether you want to become good in current company, you are working, you are good, but you want to become better. You have little bit exposure to the cloud, but you hope to move to the next level where you think you'll get more exposure. Maybe within company you are trying to move to some other team via IJP or something, or you are planning to make a bigger switch to a next company, bigger profile, better profile, and so on. So these are the few things, right? Of course, your name and years of experience, the technology that you have worked, and the expectation. Then I can tell you whether it's possible, or if not possible, I'll tell you upfront. No, sorry, I'm not the right person for that. So I believe in being, transparent or upfront rather than wasting your time, right? So setting expectation becomes important anywhere in life, right? Same way here. So that way, if you spend 10 weeks with me, okay, and I'm not, and your expectation was something, and we are not able to help, it's not a good time. I wasted your time, and nobody can give your time back, right? So time becomes most important, and that's the reason. Let us be more transparent, understand something I can be really helpful or not. If not, I can give you certain recommendation if I know, right? So that way also we can work. So if you can start one by one, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Sanjeev. My name is Satish. Okay, I'm been there in IT. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
completely into Linux side. Okay,
Okay.
infrastructure. So probably I'm
Mhm.
been there for almost 11 years now.
Mhm.
I'm looking for a bigger switch because I'm been there in the organization for a very long time.
Mhm.
And right? Okay, Linux probably it's like legacy now. So
Mhm.
everything is on cloud. So probably I'm looking for some bigger switch. So probably
Okay.
just joining an industry and learning new things. I love to learn new technology sites. So probably
Okay.
that's about me.
Well, that's good, Kat. So let me, this is a recommendation I give for anyone,
Yeah.
right? I mean, anyone who want to learn Google or anyone who want to learn AWS, Kat, AWS cloud, Kat. So everyone, so all of us has to know Linux. And for you, superb, right? You are coming from Linux background. So any server that we deploy nowadays in cloud, okay, 80 to 90% they'll be on Linux operating system, either the
Okay.
Red Hat or Ubuntu, Xen, and so on, different flavors. The reason, and then again we talk about the containers. Again, backbone would become Linux. So Linux for you is good that you come from that, but for others, I'm it's like being now generic. So all of us has to be good on Linux operating system. They're like pre-requirement or recommendation. So we all have to be good on Linux operating system. I don't mean that you need to go and do RSCSC or RSCSA certification. I mean knowledge. What I mean, you should know how to install the OS, Red Hat, Ubuntu, Cent, whatever. Then you should have the capability to create a RPM package, means basically patch, update the server, install the application, configure the application, create a user, manage users. So basic install, configure, manage. This capability we all have to know. We don't have option. So that is what I suggest everyone. Right? Same way, basic of Windows, basic, because still lot of companies, maybe 80% will have Linux operating system, 90% maybe, but 10 or 20% we might still use certain legacy application come running on Windows operating system. Maybe new deployment I'm doing, but Windows operating system. So here also again, you don't have to become Microsoft expert. Just you should know how to deploy, manage server, Windows server. I mean Windows 2016, 19. Now we have 22. Right? So this both Linux and Windows or Linux, vice versa, this second point and seventh point, I'll make you to do in lab. So we'll be building those Windows server, Linux server. So this is part of a lab, and purposefully I do that. Any interview you go, they're going to trap you there. So when you talk about an interview, when you go for interview, when you're deploying a server, remember you have to keep best practice in mind. You have to talk about OS hardening. You'll harden the OS. Whether you deploy Linux server or Windows server, same logic, best practice, right? You'll create an image, in image that you'll do a OS hardening. You install the antivirus tool. You'll do the latest patching. You'll do the compliance as per your company. Then either you deploy manually, which is very rare in today's world. We would use automation tools. You can use Terraform, okay, or you can use CloudFormation. In AWS, we have the infrastructure as a code. This service name is CloudFormation. So either by help of CloudFormation or Terraform or Ansible, I'll be deploying it. This you have to do it. So when you go in, the interview, you cannot tell that I should deploy server manually. No, they're not looking for that. They want to know whether you have the automation capability. You know those automation tools or not. So that is where I would make you to force you to learn basic of CloudFormation automation or Terraform, because this will be required. So you should know how to deploy Windows server, basically Windows come Linux plus container from Terraform or the CloudFormation. Because deployment nowadays, we deploy server, we deploy containers, largely now containers more and more. So that is where Linux and Windows will come. Along with that, remember, we live in the world of automation, scripting. So no matter which domain you work, whether you are network guy, firewall guy, OS guy, I mean platform or virtualization or cloud, okay, DevOps, everywhere automation, scripting knowledge is required. Again, basic knowledge on either shell scripting, okay, I should have mentioned shell also, I forgot. So PowerShell or shell, so or bash, any scripting. So whether you have shell scripting, PowerShell, JSON, Python, any one scripting knowledge is good. Then basic of virtualization, because we are in cloud, everything is a virtual machine. Now, how do you create, manage virtual machine? How do you optimize them? How do you take a snapshot, restore it from snapshot? How do you take a backup? Now, there's a major difference between snapshot and backup. Right? How do you create a DR? What if one region goes down? What is your BCP planning, business continuity planning, disaster recovery? Again, everything. And that hence basic. Then again, you have basic of storage. In storage also you have, let's remember SAN storage, NAS storage, iSCSI storage. What were they? Those storages, okay? In cloud, you do not have to worry. The cloud vendor, in our case, AWS is managing it. But here also we should know the category, whether you need object storage, unstructured data, binary, larger data, or you need file storage. You want to create a file server, EFS, or you want to create a block storage to keep to your disk, to your VMs. So basic of storage, and then database, important nowadays. So we should know database, different categories of database we have, right? Like you have document database, you have relational database, you have non-relational database, you have time series database, you have key value database. So differentiating those databases. In AWS, we have managed database, where AWS is giving you all as a platform as a service or database as a service. So here we'll deploy, but IT operation is headache of the vendor. In our case, AWS. And the most important thing, networking. Because whether you are an infrastructure guy or developer or DevOps, the component or service will talk to each other. If they're not talking, what went wrong? Network is properly working, firewall is properly working, port is working, API call that used to make is working, the service account that was responsible for the communication, where the problem is. So this 6-7 thing, I suggest everyone, okay, as a recommendation, no matter what cloud you learn. Any cloud is the common requirement that I suggest everyone. Right? So this is same link I'm giving you. And what I have done, I have collected this free, you don't have to do whole course. So I have picked that YouTube link like 1 hour, half an hour for each one of them. This is like 45 minutes, this is like 1 hour. Then again, it's like 30 minutes. So what this all basic things I have picked. So go and learn the basic fundamental. This you can do on your own. Whenever you're free, just watch those videos. And when we are in class, when I'm making you to deploy this Windows server, Linux server, you understand why you are doing it. Basic fundamental, you have done it, correct? So you see, when you follow this recommendation or home, the word I use is homework. When I give you homework, self-paced, when you learn and when you meet the next session, when we are building, deploying, then it becomes easy for you. See, when I was small kid, I mean, when I was in 6th or 7th, my geography or history teacher, she was the single lady, she used to teach both. So she used to always give us homework, read this chapter and come. When we used to read that chapter, at 6th or 7th geography lesson, just random, and she was explaining us the monsoon in India, we understood when monsoon is, will break in Kerala, how it will go towards, Maharashtra, then Delhi, and what happens in Chennai, right? Tamil Nadu, like mid-December, right? Kind of. So we understood that because we read and came. So similar logic here, when you do this self-paced learning and when you come back to the workshop or class, whatever word we call, then that time the interaction will be really interesting and will not kill time on mundane or basic thing. We'll talk core. We'll do deep dive. And suddenly teaching becomes really interesting for me. Teaching is really boring if I only talk, there's no question coming from the other side. Right? Because I don't know what I'm doing. See, in classroom, it was easy because all of you were in the classroom. When I was teaching, people are asking, I knew you are sitting in the classroom. In virtual room, I don't even know whether you have gone for a coffee break or you are in front of the system. So when you keep on asking me, either through the chat or you raise your hand, then we interact. Right? That flow, I love that flow. Right? Because we are interacting, then at least I know as a teacher, whatever I was trying to explain, whether you understood or not. If not, I'll change the particular example because I know old example is not so effective. So I can, adopt accordingly. Okay. So end of the day, for me as a teacher, I have to be effective. That should be the core goal. But how I should know, okay? So that is what I'll do. And for all of you, anyone who is learning the cloud, remember these 7 things are basic building block. So whether you learn AWS, whether you learn Azure, whether you learn Google Cloud, 7 things are common. We all have to know them. So this is what I would suggest you. And answering to your question, yes, you can. But along with Linux, already you are champion. Now you have to just basically brush up on the networking, not full CCNA. In network, what you should know, what is OSI layer model, the 7 layers. Remember the network, the data layer, okay, till application layer and all. Then what is the IP address, the public IP, the private IP, right? Then again, class A, class B, class C IP address and subnetting. These are the basic thing, basic building block of networking you have to learn. That's all. Because in cloud, I'll be teaching you virtual networking or SDN, software defined networking. So if you know this basic component of networking, it becomes easier. You understand, digest easily. You will not struggle. So here's that link was given you, just 1 hour link. Just watch, break it maybe half an hour today, half an hour tomorrow. One, self-paced learning is done. And then when we meet again, it becomes interesting. Right? You understand each and everything. You should know why we are creating VPC. Definition and all is good, but always ask question why, when. Right? 3 question actually. What, why, when, or where. So what is that component? Right? Theoretically, what is that component? VPC is virtual network. Right? Why we need it? Why we need it? To make component or make your service EC2 to talk to with database RDS or EC2 to talk to with Kubernetes or containers that you have deployed. For virtual communication, we need. Where we need? Within Google, within AWS cloud, sorry. So within AWS cloud, when you have and you want services to talk to each other, we need to have a virtual networking services. That is the VPC. How to do and all, that's when we get into the lab mode. So 3 questions always you need to have. What, why, where. Okay? When do I use? Where do I use? So you have answered for these three questions in anything you do. No, you understand that particular topic or chapter or service in greater way. So that is what I suggest everyone. So I hope that answered, I mean, to the Satish question. So in, if I have missed, let me know. If not, let's move to the next question.
No, Sanjay.
Hey,
Yeah,
hi
Sai,
Sanjeev.
please. Yeah, hi.
This is
Go
Sai.
ahead.
here. So in Azure, I used to work since 9 years. Now I'm working as an Azure architect
Mhm,
and DevOps organization.
mhm.
So I'm completely expertise into an Azure cloud environment. Now I don't know anything about the AWS except the terminologies differences between the Azure and AWS. So
Mhm.
how it I want to learn AWS as well. Like I want to be an expertise in AWS as well. So how it will be.
So see, generally what I do, no, let me just give you one thing. So when I teach, like when I take a workshop for Google with partners, so this is where we have, me and my team, we have created. Just give me a second. So we have created one GCP Azure. And just give me a second. One documentation we have created versus AWS. I'll answer your question, but just be with me for a second. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Somewhere. Yeah, this is the one. So because one of my role there as a technology partner enablement position is to, groom people who are coming from AWS. So Google, correct, is a new player in the market. I mean, market value wise, if you see, AWS is 33% last quarter, I mean December, and Azure was around 21% and Google was 10%. Then you have other players, right? So which means Google is quite small market share wise when you compare with the AWS Azure. So most of the customer or people or partners with whom I work, they're typically 90% working with AWS Azure. Then same story like you, right? I have to cross train them. So what we do a comparison study, correlate, because in Azure you already know the component. In Azure we used to call VNet, right? Then if I compare VNet and teach you VPC, correlate. In Azure we used to create VP, VNet, here is VPC, there is to call the NSG, here we call service security group, there we used to call VNG, here we call VPN gateway and so on, right? So comparison study will help you a lot. And this is what we have done for all the three cloud. Just for sake of example, example, because this is funded by Google, naturally we have to give priority to them. Okay. So here we have taken a product, like you want to do app modernization, like you want in DevOps, you want to do CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery. Then we have a product known as Cloud Build, by help of which, or like Jenkins, in open source you have Jenkins, right? So here in Google we have Cloud Build. So what it can do, it will help you to build, test, deploy the services in Google Cloud. Now, what are the rival product in Azure? In Azure, you have Azure DevOps, right? Then you have GitHub Enterprise. What is the rival product in AWS? The AWS Code Build, Code Deploy, Code Pipeline. This is how we have compared everything neck to neck. So this you can use. So when I'm teaching, right? So typically, always I'll compare, because a lot of you, like, would be coming from either from Azure or Google, or maybe in future you need to learn them. So when we know basic thing, comparing, and when you compare and study it, you'll see 60% things are common. Names are changing. A few things here and there will change, but basic building blocks like storage, network, VMs, okay, are common. Each cloud vendor will have their own managed services, right, or platform PaaS solutions. They will have their own, but still 60% things you will see they'll be similar in nature. So point is, if you know Azure, and when you are learning the AWS or Google, you'll see 60% things are getting overlap, names are changing, interface is changing, because you log into a different interface. But more or less 60% things are similar in nature. Digesting AWS would be very easy for you now. You have to just correlate, okay, and picking it becomes very easy. So that is what I use, and same I'll use here in yours. In this session also, will be using the same things, comparing them and talking about them, and then again deploying it, practicing it. Then again, you want to do more deep and dive, do more comparison study, deploy them neck to neck, compare them. We can depend on how much time you have for your lab. End of the day, lab is the most important, hands-on. Production environment I cannot give you. So what is the workaround for us? Lab. So lab, I'm a big fan of learning by doing it. You cannot learn by reading or watching videos. You can, maybe you'll remember for a month max. Me, I'll remember for a week. But when I do build it, deploy it, troubleshoot, I'll remember for a year, more or less. If I repeat it 2 or 3 times for life, more or less. Right? So I believe in doing and learning, and same thing I try to promote wherever I am. Right? And same logic will use here. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, Sanjay. Yes, thanks a lot for that.
No problem. So any other question?
Hey Sanjay, myself Prasanna.
Yep.
Actually, I have total 15 years of IT experience, and mainly I'm into development and production support on the Java-based applications. So yeah, I wanted to upgrade my skills, and then for any upcoming project in kind of cloud applications, which we are actually going to work on. So I wanted to build my knowledge on the AWS.
Okay. So Prasanna, like I was telling earlier, right, repeating myself, right? So just to grab everyone's attention here again, especially people who are coming from development background. So now I know Selva is there. Then again, few more people, I forgot their name. Selva, I just remember because I spoke with him 2-3 days back. Couple of people I have spoken 2-3 weeks back, so I don't recall. But for sure, we have 4 to 5 people, maybe more, from development background. See, point here is now we live in different world altogether, right? So one of the things which I'll be talking here when I talk about the micro service, right? So when we'll be talking about the micro services versus monolithic versus SOA. Just random example. This will be one of our discussion, okay? So nowadays, okay, more and more company want to deploy their application they want to containerize. You need to move away from your monolithic architecture, okay, to the service monolithic, to either to service oriented or to microservice. Microservice is the new, popular guy in town, more or less, right? So microservice is very, very popular nowadays. So when we're talking about microservice, again, deployment, 90% you'll be using these serverless services, containers, and all. It will be mixture of all the things. How do you build it? Okay. So you would be developer, but now being a developer, tech lead, team lead, because you have 15 years, or maybe the application architect, you are building an application and now customer is in AWS cloud. So you have to deploy a Java application, okay, in cloud, and you want to use Java microservices for Java. What component you will build, whether you are going to run from VM, the EC2, or whether you are going to run from Kubernetes cluster, or whether you are going to run from Beanstalk. We have a couple of more options. What all component, I'll take to design my architecture, and it would change from one customer to another customer, situation wise. It will not be, one set fit all. So that is where, as a solution architect or as a, what you call developer, you should know now. Earlier, as a developer, you were only focusing on writing the code. There was someone who was taking care of the, what you call the implementation, the support and all. Now we live in the world of DevOps. Now, gradually, we are moving to SRE, Site Reliability Engineering. In Site Reliability Engineering, more or less, you have only two teams, right? Code developer and SRE team. Every team has merged with SRE. There's no network, no OS, no DevOps. Everyone has merged to SRE. In long run, this is what is happening. So now point is we don't have option. So people coming from infrastructure, not to make you afraid, we have to know basic of development or scripting at least. This is not luxury. This is not prerequirement. This is not added advantage. We all have to learn. This is how world is changing. Right? So on talking on that, right? So that is where as a developer, you should know how to deploy your application in container environment, running from Kubernetes cluster, deploying them in, the solution, basically service, what was that? Microservice architecture and so on. How do you build a M3 or tier 3 application in AWS cloud? Which all component you will configure, right? How how the high level design should look like, how the low level design should look like, right? So this is where, as a developer, you would know the value, because you know now what will be the design best practice. So lot of design I'll be talking along with this session, but again, from the 5th week in beginning, because we are trying to digest them, 5th, 6th week, we'll be talking about a lot of best practices, design best practices, okay? Why things are changing, what are the new, so basically I'll be coming to the AWS, reference architecture. This is where I'll be coming. So we do have in AWS itself a reference architecture where we are talking about the best practices, because this will come in our examination also. So when you are talking about reference architecture, okay, what is the AWS recommended well architecture? So if you deploy application in AWS, what is the recommended, what they tell you to follow, what all things you need to focus while building an application? Now, what should be your patterns? Okay? Then couple of reference architecture designs also we have. We'll go through them. For example, you want to deploy a DynamoDB for an application, just random example. Then we go to this particular design. See here how the component will look like. To build an application, what all component we have done. Right? So this kind of things we'll be talking May 5th week, not 4th, 5th week onwards. So that is where we would focus. So coming back, so I know people who are coming from development background. You would be expert in your Java, .NET, Node.js, Go, whatever language you are working, but that's not enough. Now, after 10 years, post 8 years or 10 years, you have to be senior guy. Okay? You will be the either owning the project, or you will be contributing to the project and deploying, managing it, architecting it, optimizing it. This will be our core job. And that is where understanding the design, the entire cloud ecosystem would help us to become the better application architect. And hence, this would help all developers who are like 8 years, 10 years, 6 years plus. This is what I suggest you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. So, yeah, let's move to the next question, please.
Hi, my name is Selva. I work for a bank as a SRE lead. Presently, as you have mentioned that there are multiple cloud providers in the market, and again it depends upon an organization that which service provider. Maybe certain organizations also use multiple providers. Likewise, in my organization, we use
90% people are using multiple. 90. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you. 90% multiple cloud provider. 90%. I'll tell you why. Yeah.
So when you have shown the certifications and all these things, I'd just like to understand. See, unless and until you wanted to become AWS golden jacket professional, then you need to go through the series of certifications, right? Like associates, and then professional, and then the specialty. If in case, what is the difference between a solution architect associate as well as a professional certifications? If in case we have to prepare for it, like what changes basically?
Yeah, thank you. Good question, by the way. I was waiting for this. So see, 90%, like I was going through if you recall, the reason why I was suggesting you everyone, now people, like Selva knows that his company and maximum place you see, they'll be using multiple cloud vendor. And this was another reason why I was suggesting you guys to go and search the job. If I teach, like you are meeting me for the first time in your life, and today you come to this session, I start telling you learn AWS, Azure, Google, you think like this guy is sales guy. He's trying to, he's trying to sell multiple product, and you'll take me in wrong way. That's the reason I never try to open my mouth. But indirectly, I'm telling you, know the market, how market is behaving. So 90% companies, maybe more, they'll have dual vendor policy. We all have that. Any company that you work, go to your cafeteria, you'll see multiple vendors. The cab, multiple vendor. So in any corporate world, we cannot depend on a single vendor, single point of failure. Vendor will take you for granted. Imagine a company, Airbus, my favorite company. Imagine for a second. They are hosted from, or they are using AWS, 100% AWS and on-premise. What if tomorrow AWS infrastructure goes down? man-made disaster, natural disaster. Now, the on-premise services which Airbus was running, they are alive, still running, but everything that they had hosted from AWS is down. Till AWS fix maybe half an hour outage, 1 day outage, depending on how critical the impact was. So that is not a best strategy. So as an architect, always you have to think about worst possible case scenario. It's not about being a negative mindset. It's about being ready for the worst case scenario. If natural disaster happen, flooding, tsunami, okay, earthquake and all, or terrorist attack happens, okay, you will be able to move. If if you have been following the news, when Russia attacked Ukraine last 1 year back, entire infrastructure, okay, I love Azure for that. Microsoft moved their entire government infrastructure out of Ukraine. Now they are running from, London, couple of places in, I should not talk about the details, but couple of places in the Europe, because I closely work with them, hence I'm aware. So war is happening, but do you see their IT infrastructure not working? It's working. So Russia, they wanted to attack their data center. They don't have anything there because they have migrated everything to the cloud. So things can change quite fast. Point here is every vendor, every company that you will work would try to use 2 or more vendor. One reason, redundancy, you don't have single point of failure. Second thing, when you use 2 or more vendor, both the vendors will be in their toes to serve you better because they know they have a competition. If you depend on a single vendor, you'll be taken for right. Right? So when you have multiple vendor, redundancy, all the vendors would be on their toes to serve you better. They'll give you better pricing. Third and important thing, every vendor has USP. They're expert on certain things. Like AWS, if we talk about, market leader in storage, most economical storage compute database. But when you talk about Azure, nobody can come close to them in IoT. Personal, not personal, actually when go and search. IoT, they're number one. Gaming, they're number one. Nobody can, Azure and Google cannot come near to them in, sorry, AWS and Google. Gaming, they're number one because they acquired 2-3 gaming companies and gaming solution, they are super robust. Right? And of course, the SharePoint, the Office 365, those domain, then by default market leader. Others, it does not mean that AWS or Google does not have, all have everything, but they cannot, but Azure has, expertise in that domain. Now also the security, Sentinel, if they're like market leader as of now. Same way when you talk about Google, data analytics, data warehousing, BigQuery and all you have, correct? Then you have the microservice because Kubernetes was their brainchild, so naturally they'll have edge over others. It does not mean that other player like AWS or Azure does not have data warehousing or containers and all, but everybody will have expert on certain things. So like when you talk about company, they want best of best. They're paying money. Why should they compromise? For example, I purchased a new home in Bangalore. I want to do interiors. I can go to Samsung, buy everything, correct? The TV, fridge, washing machine, everything they sell. I'll not do that. I'll go to Samsung, buy fridge. I'll go to Sony, get the TV. I'll go to the Bose, get the music system. You get this idea. So I want to use best of best. So that is another reason why you see multiple vendor, cloud vendor being used, which you'll get redundancy. You are using best of best, right? And you have a proper BCP, business continuity planning, in case of any kind of disaster. And all the multiple vendors will be always on their toes because they know they are having competition. They do not do certain things properly, they'll be kicked out sooner or later. Right? They'll lose the business. So that is where you'll see commonly every customer, bigger company that you work, always will have multiple cloud. Now coming to the second part of your question. So see, you can become that, golden jacket and all you can, right? But that should be a long-term goal. Right? So when I prepare myself, right, I put a short-term goal and long-term goal. Short-term for me is 90 days. Then I have quarterly goal, then I have yearly goal, then I have like 3 years goal. I don't think beyond 3 years because beyond 3 years, entire dimension can change, okay? So, but again, you can have your own goal. So short-term goal I was talking about, you start with the solution architect associate, right? And take the advantage of that. Now, so the solution architect associate is like MBBS. Like you want to become doctor, everybody has to become MBBS. Then you pick your specialization, whether you want to become, master of surgeon, or you want to become eye specialist or pediatrician and so on. That is where these are specialization you get into what you want to, correct? Did I click somewhere? Yeah, maybe. So then you get into the specialization. So this is, your next target, whether you want to stick only with AWS and you want to become a specialist and so, pick here. But as of now, solution architect associate would be good. Now, another question would be, okay, so what is different between the associate and professional? So associate is someone who is the core technical person who would work with the customer client and who would be deploying the services, managing the services, troubleshooting the services. Right? So the core technical person. Then who is the professional? Professional is the architect, right? Who would be working with the customer client, understand the business requirement, draw the high level design, low level design, and implementation will be done by this associate guy. That is the difference between the professional and associate. So
Okay.
professional is the senior guy, okay? Designing the high level design, low level design, all design, okay? Costing, capacity planning, and then give the design, all the design HLD, LLD to the solution, the associate guy or team. They would be the one building those smaller, building block, deploying the network, the VM and all governance, design, best practice by them. That's basic difference.
Thanks, Sanjeev.
No problem. So let's go to the next question. Any other question from anyone? We had a lot of people. For some reason. Okay. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Myself, Aman Kumar.
Yeah.
Basically, I am from mechanical engineering. I passed out last. I worked as a mechanical engineer for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and now I want to change my profession to IT. So my friend suggested me to do AWS course, but
Okay.
now I'm thinking to go with AWS Solution Architect or AWS DevOps course.
No,
Can you help?
DevOps, no. Okay, it's not me. See here, if you see my screen, correct? So this is the professional track. So who should do DevOps? Right here, if you see, people who have minimum 2 years of cloud experience.
Okay.
So this is a professional track. So I would not, it's not to demoralize you or demotivate you. You can still have the goal, DevOps. But again, to reach DevOps, you have to do first the associate and get a job in cloud, work for 1.5 year. In IT, we change job, correct? 1.5 year, you need to again work and switch the job. The reason why I promote switching job, because if you don't switch the job, how do you earn more money? Right? So that's the only option I know. Okay, learn and switch the job. So either within the same company, if you can find a job, IJP, do that, or switch the other company. When you do that, two things will happen. Your package will grow, your profile will grow. Same time, your knowledge is growing. Because to get or jump to the next level, you have to learn something new. So recommendation for you as of now would be the solution architect associate. But again, because you are fresh, I'll treat you as a fresh graduate. Do not mind, because 1 year of experience that you have, right, it will not be
I have a
considered
mechanical background.
because it's from non-IT, so they'll not
Yes.
consider. So you'll come under 0 to 3 years up as a fresh graduate. Then when you are trying for the L1 job in cloud, you have the L1 engineer job or administrator job. There you have to work on Linux. So you'll be joining as a L1 engineer job, and most of the work you'll be doing as a Windows support or 90% Linux engine knowledge you need to have. So Linux, you have to focus on learning Linux, and along with that, AWS. Right? So again, that is another thing that we do for anyone who's 0 to 3 years fresh graduate. We tell them focus only Linux basic of networking, AWS. That's enough, because get a L1 job. Once you are into IT cloud profile, then stay there for 1.5 year, learn end to end. Then make a next switch. And by that, staying in the IT for 1.5 year, you'll know what you want, what you enjoy. Now you will get more. As of now, your friend has told, okay? Now when you start working, you'll be connecting with different team, various team. You'll know what you can do, where you'll enjoy things. End of the day, things that we enjoy, okay? It's kind of gyan, but actually it works. Things that you really enjoy, if you do that, you'll grow faster. Right? So that you will get once you start working. Then you only will know whether you will enjoy the DevOps, whether you will enjoy the security, or whether you will deploy, enjoy the analytics, what you would enjoy. Right? So as of now, you will not know because you have not tried any one of them. So I would suggest you to work as a 1.5 year as a cloud L1 engineer, then make a next move to DevOps professional engineer or any specialty program or profile that you want to get into. So as of now, I'm keep telling you, keep as a long-term goal down the line 1.5 year. And short-term goal is to complete the AWS solution architect, parallelly learn the Linux and get a, so your short-term plan, like I mentioned, 90 days. If you are slow learner, maybe 120 days. So if you start today, then pick the calendar, okay? So take calendar, make the note of 90 days. Your goal should be 90 days, I have to switch the job. So when you put a plan, then only you'll work towards that. If you don't put a plan, you will think tomorrow. In India, okay, you have marriage season neck to neck, then you have festivals coming. So if you don't put a goal, then always things will get delayed. So that's what I do. I plan, then I put a, like this week what all I'm going to learn, this month what I'm going to learn. And I write it down. Either I prefer pen and pencil. And when I complete certain things, I use that tick mark, all correct or Nike sign. Okay? I feel good. I have done this one. So you will know what all things you have completed, and you know the timeline. So your time should be like 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months. Switch the job, get the job into AWS. So I sometimes push people. Some people feel bad, but believe me, it works. Some certain people, until unless you don't push, they are like bit lazy. They don't move. So I have to keep on pushing. Do it. Worst case scenario, what will there? You'll fail. Who cares? It's not marriage proposal, correct? You'll fail. We'll try again. So that is what I suggest you. So your 90 days or 120 days goal should be complete the AWS Solution Architect Associate and along with Linux and get the L1 job, and should be 90 or worst case scenario 120 days, 4 months. Do not drag beyond that. You'll lose the energy or you'll lose the momentum. So always keep a target goal. And this will apply for everyone. You all know where you want to reach. So put a timeline, 90 days or 120 days. Right? So because believe me, because it cannot be always. So if you put a timeline and if you start working, achieving becomes easier. So that's the formula I have been working on myself. So I have done testing on myself. Always I'm the guinea pig for all my testing. Then if something works, then I start recommending. And this is what I have been recommending for last 10, 12 years, from 2009, now 14 years, sorry. And it works with most of my students, and it works with myself. Always take a timeline, strict timeline. Right? And I suggest you half an hour daily. And the half an hour is very powerful. But remember, in half an hour daily, there should be no Eid Diwali. Okay? There will be Eid happening. Right? Celebrate whole day. But before you sleep, read for half an hour or do some lab for half an hour. There will be Diwali. Okay. Early morning or late night, what kind of person you are? Again, half an hour still for yourself. So when you make this half an hour practice you start today at 90 days. If you make this every day half an hour, this will become part of your life. Right? That becomes a kind of what, that is what we'll do. Right? Without that, you'll not sleep. Like when I was kid, my parents, my grandmother made me to read newspaper. Till date, I read because it became habit. If I don't read, I cannot eat food. Breakfast, I mean. So it becomes very powerful. So kind of gyan, but try it. It works. So that is what I would suggest you. So again, coming back, Linux and AWS Solution Architect Associate, get a job in cloud. Next, by 1.5 year, next target will be to jump to the DevOps. Okay. So that is what I would recommend you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay.
No problem. So any other question from anyone?
Yeah, my name is Pavan.
Yeah, Pavan, go ahead.
I am working as 1.5 L1 engineer, L1 1.5 engineer. I want to upgrade my skills to cloud, like Azure. My company is switching servers to cloud. Azure, Microsoft Azure, our company is using. So I want to switch to cloud.
Okay. Same rule goes to you also, because you are like 1.5 year experience, right? And because you are already working as L1 engineer, so mostly you'll be good on the OS side, identity access management, user permission and all. By default, you'll be good on those things. Now focus would be to become, good in all the other services like the database, the Kubernetes. Kubernetes, I'll repeat again and again because most of the world is going towards containerization. I don't mean that we'll ignore server, but more and more you have to learn. We all have to become good in containers, right? Kubernetes and all. So that is the area we all have to focus more. So for you, okay, Pawan, you have to focus on servers you might know. If not, again, work on them. Then containers, then database services, Lambda services, okay? Little bit of DevOps, CI/CD. And all of you, okay, again, answering to previous question, by default, basic of DevOps, again, I'll be teaching you. I forgot that word. So around 10 to 15% of DevOps tools I'll be teaching you. I know you are learning AWS Solution Architect, but basic of DevOps you should know. Like I mentioned earlier, some point in time, cloud formation, I'll force you to learn. Basic of Terraform, I'll force you to learn or I'll teach you, okay? Then basic of CI/CD, we'll do that. So around 10-15% of DevOps also I'll be teaching you, not the codes, but there certain component which will help us to become a better cloud architect. So that also I'm going to steal from here because I know that will be required when you go for a job. When you go for a job, you cannot tell that I have done only this certification, ask me only from this. Does not work, right? He or she can ask you anything. So motto in long run is to become a good solution architect. And for that, everything from cloud practitioner, developer 10, 15 or 20%, system operation 30 to 40%, DevOps, again, I'll be talking about 10, 15%. Then again, best practice design, maybe 5, 10% I'll be putting here. And again, from security also I'll be picking because security, wherever you go, security is important. 5, 10% from security. So whatever the codes outline that use, that's another reason why I take 10 weekend, because a lot of other extra component I have to pull and I have to make you learn. That's the reason this gets stretched over 10 weekend. So hope that helps. So instant would be to focus again on the solution architect, but do not worry, along with that, we'll learn the other component also. So to Pawan, focus on the solution architect associate, but along with that, brush up on whatever you are learning, because when you switch the job, imagine if you want to switch within company, then no problem, but in long run, maybe 1 year from now, you want to plan to switch to another company, then you have to be good in whatever you have done in 1 year or 1.5 year plus whatever I teach you. So it will be combination, or you'll make yourself as a profile which will help you to move to the next level.
Do you teach Microsoft Azure also?
I do teach.
Okay.
So I do teach in Microsoft Azure. I teach 5 papers: the 104, the 305. Then again you have 400 DevOps. Then there's network specialty, security specialty, and one more I teach was from there. What was that? The database migration, cloud migration. So 5 to 6 paper I teach from Azure. From AWS I teach 5 papers. The assuming this I'm not including, but again, imagine this I teach, this I teach, this 3 I teach, solution architect, DevOps, then I advanced networking, then I teach the security. So this 6, 7 things I teach from AWS, and Google I teach almost everything. Just I don't teach them there the machine learning, but rest of things I teach because currently I work for Google. So naturally, my role there is I have to, my role, I work as a technology enablement to their partners. So I have to enable the partners like Accenture, CGI, Capgemini, TCS, all the service-based companies. So naturally, I have to be good in all their products or certifications. So I teach everything from them. Then I teach OpenStack and VMware vCloud Director. Also, I teached a couple of sessions I took for the Alibaba. So then I did not get more requirement on that side. So I have not taken anything in last 8 or 9 months. But I teach, I had taught a couple of sessions on Alibaba Cloud, which is a big thing now in China. They are becoming growing really fast. They are as of now in 4th position behind Google, 7 or 8% of global market. So these are the clouds which I teach. Any other question from anyone?
Sanjeev, this is Sai Kishore again. Are we are you going to teach on EKS as well?
Which one?
EKS, Elastic Kubernetes
Yes,
Services.
yes, EKS will be part.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll be covering the EKS. That's when I'll be picking from here, DevOps, what all I'm going to pick. I know in solution architect as associate also EKS is there, but basic is there. But we have to enter little bit deep, I mean. So I'll be covering the EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. I'll be covering the Beanstalk. I'll be covering the Lambda. I'll be covering the, what was that? The cloud formation, right? Then again, I'll be using the code deploy, right? So the CI/CD tools from there. So I'll be, and because then again, also I'll be teaching the AWS Fargate, right? So those things I'll be working, right? Because those are required no matter, because same like when I was talking about like when you go for an interview, they don't talk what certification you have done. Just random examples. If I go here and if I picked here AWS architect, right? If I pick AWS architect, just a random example, assuming we all are applying for AWS architect, it picked random, right? So let me pick some big company, okay? So let me go to some bigger company, okay? Where you have, or let me go to Bangalore, okay? It becomes easier because all the cream jobs you'll see in Bangalore typically. I don't mean other places will not have, but typically we know in India core jobs you get in Bangalore. So let me go to some bigger company just for sake of example. Now, if I go to Genpact and all is good, but I'm not that great fan. So let me go to Entity Data or Honeywell. I love this company. So if you see here, but again, they're asking about, see, enterprise architect, but focus on network and security. So when you are applying for a job, always you have to read the JD. This is the reason why you'll read the JD. So this job is meant for someone coming from security and network background. So that's the reason I'm not picking this one. So let me go to the AWS architect. So EFI also is good, but so Kyndryl, if I go, just for sake of example, if I pick Kyndryl, the IBM, at which split, same. So always you have to go and read these JDs. Right? So here always you have to know about the JD, what they want, right? And you can see from there you'll come to know, right, what is the expectation. If I take Wipro, for example, and then when you start reading, then you will come to know what is their actual requirement. So most of the time you'll see it. Some reason I was supposed to show you EKS and all. I'm not able to find them, but somewhere it should be when you start
Yeah.
finding them one by one. Okay. So more or less point is our job is to know what companies want, because 90% of you sooner or later would switch to a greater profile. You might be working cloud, but you want to move to next level. So one of the reason is we should know what market want, right? How things are changing, and we have to get ourselves ready accordingly, right? So then only our hard work will, give you some result, right? If you just keep on doing hard work, you're not aware about the market situation, then we'll struggle. So point is always whatever I teach, try to understand. We try to target what company want and try to club them from other certification. So again, coming back, this will be our core focus, right? But with this, what is the additional things I need? Everything I need from here, few things from here, few things from here, few things from here, and few from security. So those will be like additional component we'll try to merge along with that, so that when you go for interview, client round, customer round, or you're already working cloud, so interview is first hurdle, first gate, right? Don't only think till that, think beyond. When you get selected, you are working and you are known as the cloud expert. Now everybody will come to you for any kind of escalation. Okay? And if you don't perform, then people will start talking behind you. Okay? So point is we should be really good in whatever we claim or for whatever we have been chosen. And this becomes the one of the approach. So any other question, anyone?
So from tomorrow we are going to start our technical sessions, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, first day is always like, knowing
Introduction.
okay? And then we start gradually. So any other question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, Sanjay, this is Muthu speaking.
Yeah, Muthu.
So basically, I'm coming as a Python developer background. So I would like to increase my capacity in the AWS, all the services like EC2, S3 buckets, everything, all the what are the available services like SQS, SNS, Lambda functions, and VPCs. So these are the important topics for me. And apart from this, I'm currently working for the client. Their major background is IoT, Internet of Things.
Okay.
So do we have any special courses in which related into the AWS market? Like I know like some Internet of Things certifications available in the AWS.
As of now, though IoT certification, okay, they have classes, but they're not generally when you talk about it. So when I go to these, they're not like famous certification. So these are the most famous certification. But if I go to the AWS IoT certification, this training happening. So when I talk about IoT training, AWS IoT training here, so you'll have certain papers, okay, but they don't sell as a what you call certification because they're quite niche. Those certifications are meant for niche people. They're not generic. Very less people as of now, I mean, are learning because so those are niche. So they don't have a full-fledged certification like the way we have for solution architect and all. But trainings are happening where we focus on IoT management, like you have IoT hub or core, right? Where all your sensors will talk. Then you need to know the API management. Okay. So because in IoT again API you will be managing APIs.
Okay.
Then you need to have the data ingestion when you from sensors when you are collecting a data. Okay. So how do you do the data injection? Then how do you do the data streaming? Because sooner or later you'll do the data processing, right? So you'll have to create a data streaming pipelines. Then you have to do the data processing, means you have to use some analytical tools. Right? So how do you integrate them? So those as of now they're not official separate codes. This merge with, right? So few things you will find here. So as of now, few things are part of here analytics. So here you will see, okay. So here few things you'll get from the analytics where we are talking about how to connect with your IoT devices, how to collect the data, do the data injection, right, for the analytics process, purpose in long run. So when you talk about IoT sensors, for example, imagine we are working for a company, JCV, right? In India, you have JCV or Caterpillar. Now, this JCV or Caterpillar as a company, they sell millions of vehicles, which into the mining or road manufacturing or agriculture, just random story. Now, all the heavy vehicles they sell to construction company or mining industry. Now, all these heavy vehicles comes with sensors because they want to do a predictive maintenance. So all these equipment will come with sensors. So those sensors will talk to IoT core. Certain data they'll be sending real time. Certain data when they come in day, they are doing the mining or they are doing into the road construction. And from the GPS or from the phone network, you are sending certain amount of data, maybe around 1 or 10 MB. When those vehicles comes in evening to the base location or garage, wherever they'll park, from when then they'll get connected to the Wi-Fi network. So that time the mass data like 300 to 400 MB which they'll store, that data will be shared over the your Wi-Fi network or the home network based location. Now all the data that is collected in cloud has to do processing of data. Then only you'll know the real time you can do which part of the vehicle is going to fail at the health start of the vehicle. So motto is as soon as we detect that some part is going to fail, we have to alert that customer client, ask them to go to the nearest dealer for servicing. Motto is reduce downtime for the vehicle. We have to do predictive maintenance. So that's the one of the just example I'm talking about when you are talking about the IoT devices and all. So IoT, when you are learning on the IoT and all, okay, you have to work a lot on the sensors, the IoT core, the APIs, right? Then the integration that you will do with a legacy environment to cloud, right? Certain data will go to your on premises. Yeah, a lot of component comes into. Yeah.
Yes, there are many electronic devices are connecting to this AWS IoT core, like for example, like BACnet protocol and Niagara. So different kind of protocols and all available. So it is talking with the AWS IoT core only.
Yes.
So those kind of cores also I would like to learn in my future. So that's why I'm asking. those kind of
So
courses?
as of now, I know basic, but not
Okay.
expert in that direction. But I know
Okay.
one person, okay? But he works
Okay.
for AWS itself, but unfortunately he was laid off last week.
Okay.
Second phase, okay? You now
Okay.
know, okay, AWS fired in January or Feb. Again, the last week again they came with a new list, okay? And not laughing, sorry for that. So I mean, he was part of that list, and I
Okay.
was speaking with him, right? So he got laid off. But as of now, I'll not ping him, right? Because he'll be already worried to find a new job, right? So he has senior position, senior client-facing TAM, technical account manager. So let him settle down, then he'll be the right person.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's based in
And
US as of now. Yeah.
okay. And another question is like with respect to the DevOps professional certificate, and
Mm.
what are the services we will learn in that service actually? Like a code build, something.
So in DevOps, you will learn the code deploy, code build, the CI/CD tools like Terraform, then along with the cloud formation from the AWS. Then you will learn about the integration. Okay, you have to integrate with your CloudWatch,
Okay.
CloudTrail. Okay, so basically nowadays, anyone who is learning DevOps, it becomes DevSec's more or less. You have to integrate the security features also sooner or later.
Okay.
So it will be a mixture of the CI/CD tools, the monitoring tools, the security tools, the API management, right? Lifecycle management of that code or product that you deploy. So all those things would come into picture. The version, where you are keeping your code, like you have GitHub, right?
GitHub, yes.
Then,
And the Git actions and all it is coming, creating the workflow files.
yep.
So those kind of things and all
Those
coming.
things, yeah, those things also will
Okay.
come. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Fine.
again, once you create GitHub actions and all, then you create a image, right? You will create a Docker image or Java or something. Now, where do you keep that image before you deploy into the production? So you have to, like we used to have Docker Hub, right?
Yeah.
To create the image, container image. Same way here also you have where you will be keeping your image before you push them into the production. Do the CD, continuous delivery. So those are the tools we'll be talking about: CI, CD tool, the version control, the Docker management, okay?
Okay.
The entire lifecycle management. Yeah.
Sanjeev, are you taking any other courses for the DevOps professional apart from this course in the
General,
weekends?
see, as of now, I have 3 batches on weekend. So
Okay.
morning, first batch was like 9 a.m. till 11:30. Okay. Then I took a break for like 45 minutes to 1 hour. So by default is like 9 to 11:30, like 2.5 hours. But again, people will have questions. Okay. So naturally, I never complete on time. Always get extended 10, 15, maybe 20 or 30 minutes extra. So I completed today by 12. So 9 to 12. So there I was teaching in early morning. I was teaching AWS, Google Cloud, sorry. Google was the morning. So where I had people from, again, early morning, people from India, then a couple of people from Indonesia, Thailand, and a lot of people from Singapore and all. So that was the early morning for Google. Now, second, which I'm starting from today. Today was kind of demo interaction and all, obviously from tomorrow, which is the AWS Solution Architect Associate. This start from like 12:30 and I'll complete by 3 p.m. Okay, 2:30 or 3 p.m. in beginning. Right. Then I have next batch starting today, right, which is 3:30 official time, but always we go to like 4 p.m. because in that session everyone is from Europe.
Okay.
So I have a batch, everyone from Europe. So I have like 13 or 14 people, like group of all Indians, only two are, whites. I mean, non-Indian, Irish guys. So, but they're friend only. So it's a two group of people, friends, for 13 or 14 people, I think. So yeah, one person dropped, so 13 people. So that I'm teaching there, cloud migration, and it's a mixture of all migration, migrating from on-premise to Google Cloud, to AWS Cloud, to Azure Cloud, the inter-cloud migration. Then also I'm talking about in AWS, you have control tower, right? Then you have the landing zones. So all those, and because all of them are like average experience in that batch is like 15 years, 14 to 15 years, all senior guys, veterans.
Okay.
And they wanted to know end-to-end migration, right? And one group is from HCL, right? 6, 7 people. So they are part of the vertical, the infrastructure modernization. So if you see here also we have something known as infrastructure modernization. If I go to here, so if I talk here somewhere, I'll get the fancy word for migration. Nowadays we call app modernization, infrastructure modernization. So that is where they come from. Or let me go here, get AWS get app modernization. So that is the vertical they are from. And as per that, okay, they have to know about all the migration, inter-cloud, hybrid cloud. Okay, this is what I'm teaching to them. And because they are from the app modernization, they should know all the three. They already know all the three cloud. They are certified. They have experience. But my role, I'm teaching them the migration, inter-cloud, then third-party tools like Jerto, Veeam, okay, Carbonite. Okay, those are the tools I'm teaching along with them. So it's like 6-month program for them. So almost I have completed. Now we are into 4 months. So I'll be completing them by June. So in end point was I teach only 3 sessions. Okay, and the migration session we run for like 4 hours. So already I'm talking for 7 to 8 hours. Okay. So as of now, these are the 3 things which I am taking. And the morning, the Google batch, okay, which is going to get over in next week session. So next week, okay, I'll be starting a new one. So today I took one, then tomorrow one session, then next week 2 session. I'm wrapping them up. Then next week I'll open a new session 9 a.m. But I'm not sure what batch I'll get allocated. It's always about demand and supply. Okay? So depending on how many students we have, accordingly my team, okay, they'll arrange a batch for me. Again, like first day I'll have session with everyone, understand the requirement, okay, expectation, and then we start running that session for 3 months. I take like 2.5 to 3 months on an average. Anything that I teach.
Thank you, Sanjeev. So
No
if you
problem.
are planning to start any kind of DevOps course, please let me know. I will join in that course as well.
Sure.
Just
But as of now, what I'll suggest you, Muthu, okay? So for next 3 weeks, okay, do not pick one more session. The
okay.
reason is it will become too much to digest. After 3 weeks, okay, you can do a parallel. So first 3 weeks is like kind of in first 3 weeks is like we are working on foundation, and always I tell everyone in foundation spend more time. Okay, this how strong you build your foundation. Okay, taller building you can build. Okay, so if you are constructing a home, you know that we always take more time on the groundwork, the foundation. Okay, once your foundation work is done, then you'll see the first floor, second floor coming very fast. Same logic in learning also. I take the same approach. So first 3 weeks, don't try to do anything else. Only focus on the fundamentals, foundation, become strong on the network, the database, all the basic core component which you told, focus there only. After that, then you start doing multitasking. It will not hamper anything. It will not impact anything. But first 3 weeks for everyone, right? Don't do multitasking. First 3 weeks, focus in one thing. See, in end, it's all about our focus, right? So let's focus at one point, and post that you can start doing multitasking. And yes, to
Okay,
your
Sanjeev.
question, yes, I'll inform you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So any other question, please go ahead.
Hey, hi Sanjeev sir, good afternoon. My name is
Good
Kiran.
afternoon. Yeah, Kiran.
Yeah, actually we already spoken. I was actually associated with a different batch. So I mean today I have a bad cold. I can't speak very fluently. So like I'll be available for this batch.
Sure. So you're most welcome, okay? So nothing to worry. Even I have cold. I'm
Yeah,
coughing from yesterday. Yesterday night I was traveling, so I caught, and it was raining in this part of the world, so I caught cold. So nothing to worry.
okay.
Get well soon, okay?
Yeah,
And thank you for joining.
thank you.
So any question that I have missed? There are a lot of people, but some reason I think you are not comfortable. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Any weekday batches?
See, weekday I don't teach.
Okay.
Other teachers are teaching. Right? So point is, I'm not the only one. Okay? I teach. Okay? One of the oldest, or you can tell the oldest. Okay? For Webson, but I teach only in weekdays. Sorry, weekend, because weekdays my job. Okay? Because I'm into customer facing role in Google, and I take a lot of workshop for their partners, and a lot of time by time I complete my work. And because when you take a workshop, I'll be speaking already for 6 to 7 hours per day. And now we live in the world of virtual, right? So when I'll have to take a pack workshop for the customer partners. I have to take a EMEA workshop. So by the time I complete my work, it becomes 6:30 or 7. And basically my throat would stop working. I'll not be able to speak because whole day I have spoken, right? In workshop. So I try to avoid teaching in weekdays. Second reason is, sometime we'll get stuck in certain workshop which get delayed. Certain time I have to travel during the week. Right? And now if I've scheduled a training and I don't turn up on time, it's a wrong signal, right? You are spending, you are not respecting someone's time, right? And that is not good, which I feel. So I try to avoid, but in case any one of you need a urgent help. So typically what we do, we create a WhatsApp group, okay? And anyone who needs urgent help, always don't call me, okay? Because I use only single number. So you can call, but don't call me because I'll not always best way is to reach to me is ping me. I'll give you a call back because reason when you're calling, I might be in customer area location. It does not feel good to pick call in front of customer. I hope if you work with customer facing, that is like not a decent gesture, right? So I try to avoid taking any personal phone during the customer interaction. So when I'll see your message during the break and I might call you after 8 p.m. and I'm late person. I sleep generally by 1:30 and all. So whatever things I'll check when I'm free from my regular work by 8:30, I'll start seeing the message and I'll reply you. Let me know your free time. I'll ping you and once we both are free, we'll speak. So this is for the weekdays. Because I know certain place in time you need help, right? I understand that one. So this is the approach which we take.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So any other question? Anyone? Any other question? Did I miss any question? Let me know. But I see a lot of people, right? Okay. Anyway, whenever you become comfortable, you can. But believe me.
And one more thing, right? So
Yeah.
I think whatever the links that you have pinged in the chat. So I think I'm not sure anyone is getting it, but is there any way that you can?
So what I'll do, if you can, so you all, okay? So if you can see this, let me just open this one. So do me because I don't have. If my people have your email, okay? What I'll do, I'll send you that, okay? So but again, if you can drop a mail to here, Sanjeev. Let me just make it bigger, okay? So sanjeev@websun.com. So let me make it bigger because anyway you are not able to see the. Okay? How do I make it bigger? Okay. Let me go here. Just give me a second. Let me go to this place and let me go. Okay. So I hope now, okay, you would be able to see. So just drop me a mail, okay? And what I'll do, so this is my email, okay? I hope you can see my email. So this will be Sanjeev, okay, SANJEEV @websun.com. Drop me a hi, hello mail, okay? And then all the links that I have shared, okay, I'll forward you. I hope this should work.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin.
No problem. So any other question from anyone? So if not, we are good for the day. Today was about knowing, right? Setting the expectation, and tomorrow we'll get into action. And tomorrow I will start with, we all have to know, right? So before I get into the teaching, few things we talk, right? We talk about the solution, right? Like what are the solution industry wise, right? Use cases, documentation, right? Then AWS partner, few things we should know, right? So we'll go to the pricing, about AWS pricing, AWS calculator. These are the things, few things it can be boring for half an hour, but we should know. If you are helping a customer client, how do you do cost estimation? He or she would ask you, right, how much money I need to pay to AWS down the line, first quarter, 1 year or something, right? So we have to do the pricing calculation. Imagine you are helping a customer and the customer want to deploy a new project in AWS cloud. They have picked AWS cloud and they want to deploy a new pilot project. Now, what they want to deploy, they need the budgeting for that. So how do you create the cost estimation? So we will open this particular capacity calculator, and then we'll ask where they want to deploy. This we'll talk tomorrow, which region, what service they want to deploy, right? Then we'll build, then do the cost estimation for them right there in front of them. So this will help us. And this is one of the job that you would do as an architect, people like 8+ years of experience. This is one of your job. You have to meet with the customer client, understand their requirement, right? What they want, right? How much budget they have, and then give them solution which should fit their pocket. So this is what we would do. So these are not part of your codes, but this is required. Anywhere you go, this is what you need to do. Cut cost estimation, one would be there. Then we talk about the compliance, AWS compliances. Now, this is important, right? When we are meeting with customer client, now what is the compliance? You're working with a company, right? Banking company, like payment gateway, right? So which are the compliant you need to meet? You see here, you have PCI DSS because you are collecting that credit card, debit card detail. So you should be PCI compliant. Then you have HIPAA for the healthcare. You have FedRAMP, very famous nowadays. Then you have GDPR for European companies, right? Then you have ISO standards, right? And then FIPS and so much. So you can see a lot of compliances, right? So we'll talk about the compliance that we have. Then how the compliance work. What is this? Then again, we'll talk about the shared responsibility. What is the responsibility of AWS? What will be our responsibility? So this will be the area where I'll talk tomorrow. Again, for half an hour and 45 minutes, I'll be talking non-stop. Then we'll get into the lab. So point here onwards, not tomorrow, but maybe from next Saturday, 90% time we'll spend on lab. Point is, you all are watching videos, right? You'll be using YouTube, you'll be using Udemy, a lot of things you use. But again, I don't want to repeat those things again and again. So brief idea, we'll talk about what that component is, why do we use it, best practice, and so on. And then we'll get into the deployment, configuring, troubleshooting mode. More of hands-on, more of playing around, making your hands dirty with those particular services rather than only talking about Gyan. Right? So that is what we would do from next Saturday. Tomorrow, right? It will be a mixture of Gyan or theory plus lab. But going future, we all would spend more and more time in lab, and every weekend I'll give you homework. If you do them and come back, believe me, right? The after 90 days, when you compare where you stand today, we have to, right? So you can use Excel sheet or pen paper. No, make a record what you know today in cloud, and then we can compare after 90 days or after 10 weekends, 80 days or 90 days, what we know now. Then it becomes easier to know track our progress, right? So that is what I would suggest everyone to do that. And so point is, each and every one of you would have your own lab, no sharing business. Sharing is good, but let's be as of now selfish. First learn yourself, then start helping others, right? So learning ourselves is the primary goal. Then of course we'll help more and more people because you know knowledge, right? More you help, more you give, more it grows. Same logic here. But first we have to learn ourselves. So that will be focus. So each and every one of you will have your own lab. Okay? And my training can be only helpful for people who are following the labs. If you're not following, believe me, it is waste of your time, money, everything. I would recommend you not to be part of. Not to discourage you, but I prefer to be being blunt rather than giving you fake dream or something. So I prefer that way, doing hard work, and because when you do yourself hard work and reach to certain milestone, you have sense of achievement because you worked for that. And that's what I prefer doing it. So that will be the approach which we'll use. Right? So each and every one of you would do lab as much as possible. Even if you're a manager, program manager, project manager, does not matter. I know that you will not do yourself work. There'll be like vendor or team under you who will be doing it. But think you're a techno managerial, you're a techie guy, but manager role. Nobody can bluff with you because everybody will be afraid of you, because not in bad way, but they know that you are a techie guy. They cannot play around. You understand technology. You know technology, so nobody can play around. So in today's world, always, even though you're in management role, being a techno manager is better than just being a manager. You all know, right? Cost cutting and all. management and all always get impacted. Technical people get less impacted. Even if you get impacted, finding a new job is not tough for us because everybody needs people with technical skills. Okay? And hence I recommend you, no matter how many years of experience you have, always learn more and more technology. Right? And that will help us to grow faster, secure our family, job, know the stuff. So that is what we would do. So this is the expectation for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with theory, the capacity planning, then I'll move to the compliances, best practices, and so on. Okay. So that is what we would do tomorrow. And then for maybe 35 to 45 max, then we'll get into the lab. I'll start from your network. The first component I pick typically is network, then virtual machine. Parallelly, I run networking and virtual machine because whenever you create network, firewall, subnet, you have to test it. And for testing, we need VMs. So I run networking component and VM component at VPC and EC2 parallelly. Then I come into the identity access management. Then I come into the storage. Then I come into the databases. Then from there, I'll switch the gear. I'll get into the managed services like Kubernetes, okay, EKS, Fargate, Beanstalk, and so on. Then get into the monitoring. Then talk about CI/CD, okay, all the SRE and DevOps best practices. Few things I'll collect from there, and that is how we would, in beginning we go with basic component, less complicated component, and gradually I increase the I'll go to the more and more complex stuff. So digesting becomes easier for learners, even though you are new to cloud. Because I have to think about end of the day, what you are able to follow. So that pace allows me to, gradually increase the complexity and still not losing the interest from my audience, people like you. So that is what I would be doing gradually. So any question from anyone?
Yes, Sanjeev, one more question. So in case
Yeah.
for any reason, if we are unable to attend any weekend session, so can we get this recording session?
Every class, sorry for interrupting you, including today, okay?
Yeah.
Every class by default is recorded. Every class.
Okay.
But try to attend as many class as possible. The reason why I'm telling you, see, something is beyond your control, like you were called for office or you have family urgent work, right? You cannot avoid it. Right? For us, everyone, right? Family should be first. Second is office. Third is learning or growing, right? So imagine you have certain things which is beyond your control, like family urgency or office work. Then go through the recording that week. So if you certain things you do not understand, okay, then come back with question. Don't delay it. So point is that week learning, complete that week. Even if you are not able to join the class or you joined the class, but certain things you were not able to digest, you need to certain places, you need to go and rework. So don't delay it for future. Complete that week, task that week itself. Whether you joined or did not join, watch it, come with question. So even if you were not able to join, you went through the videos, and then when you are coming back with question, all the doubt or gap that you will have, I'll be able to fill them. And that way it becomes, we are not losing. See, for me as a teacher, I have to ensure everyone is in same page. Nobody should be left behind. If I'm able to achieve that, then I'm a good teacher. If not, no. Right? So that is my motto. But whenever possible, try to attend and do laugh. So a lot of people I see it, people keep on watching, not a good practice because I go slowly. So and I would prefer to do the laugh same time. Right? If there is like certain places when you're traveling, you are attending the call from phone or certain function is happening in your home, but still you are attending the class. So that time you cannot. But if wherever possible, try to do the things parallel in class, because when you do it and you get stuck and you raise your hand or interrupt me, you tell Sanjeev this is the problem, then I'll tell you share your screen. So imagine when you share your screen, first thing I'm able to get the root cause, what is the problem, what went wrong. Then everybody is watching. Sometimes somebody else can pick the problem before me, right? So like we all learn. So one problem, now we all are, so 10 people we have in batch, 10 unique problems. So all of us would know. So if I only showed you, then only you will know. What about 9 people? So when you start, when I ask you to share your screen and we troubleshoot, parallelly we all are learning. And also we are improving the logical reasoning. Okay? Other people also can jump in and find the problem. Okay, this is the problem. Sanjay, check this, check that. So that way it becomes really interesting and our troubleshooting approach would improve. So that is what I do. So point is whenever possible, join. But even if you miss, do not worry. Every session that we take, by default, they're recorded. You're good?
Okay. And that recording will be shared,
Yeah.
right?
So we maintain a share point and the website share point, and from website share point, we share you that. You can access it, you can download a offline copy for yourself, whichever way you are comfortable. So all the data you get it.
Okay, thank you.
And the one more thing, the books, right? I'll be using a PDF copy, official book. So book, the questions, get everything you get access to. So either you can access from SharePoint. Also, I suggest you download one more offline copy. It will not take too much. Right? Maybe maximum it will grow to 1 GB max. So you can keep in one folder or one pen drive, wherever you can dump it. Future reference. Okay? So all the books, the questions, okay, the labs, most of them would be e-copy, and you will have access to the SharePoint even down the line. But still, always things can change, right? So some permission can go, some certain things we do, right? People upgrade and all we do, people lose the access, and it becomes really complex. So I started suggesting everyone keep a offline copy for yourself, download a local copy, so that tomorrow even if you some access, but if your access is gone, you can always raise, let us know, we'll fix it. But again, you do not have to panic because you have a offline copy with you. Okay. Now, any other question from anyone? Any other question? Okay, silence is golden, but not in our case, okay? So, and the second thing, okay, whenever you have question, no matter how small they are, because when you ask, then only I'll know certain things need to be given importance and I need to explain. One example might not work, then I'll switch the example. So there's no harm in asking question, right? And do not worry with this small question, big question. Who cares? And here you are not representing anyone, right? You are here. You are for yourself. You don't know it stuff. It's a big thing for you. Learn it. Do not ignore. So do not worry about who will laugh, who will cry. Who cares? Okay. So don't go with that approach. Any question, any concern, ask a friend because I don't know what you don't know. So until unless you don't tell me what you don't know, I'll not be able to help you. So as soon as I know, okay, this is the topic or subject you have problem, I can explain you, then I can give you reference videos or documentation. I'll suggest you go and read this, watch this. And that way we learn, right? Nobody was champion from day one. Right? Whatever work that you do in beginning, when you started your work in that domain, first 3 months, at least whatever I did in my life, first 3 months, 6 months, I struggled. Daily was like, giving up. Oh God, it's not possible for me. Then now, the same thing if you call me mid of night or somebody calls you mid of night, junior resource, you'll not even open your eyes, right? You'll answer them in phone because that is how smart we have become. Because we did that work again and again, again and again, and we become quite comfortable on them. Same logic here also. In beginning, we all will struggle. It's part of life. Anything you do for the first time, in beginning, it's always tough. Gradually, it becomes easier. Right? So subject was same. What happened? We improved. So give some time to yourself. Have patience. Don't try to think, okay, one day or 1 week I'll become champion. Be realistic, right? And that way we can grow. So that's another thing. And any other question? If not, we are good for the day. Okay. And in case you have any questions, so remember this is my email. Always you can drop me a mail. Okay, sanjeev@webtion.com, or you can reach out me in LinkedIn if you want to reach out. Okay, so this will be my profile. Some reason, even though I'm giving chat, at some reason you're not able to find. Some reason chat is not visible, which I need to troubleshoot for tomorrow. So this was the my profile. Okay? So you can find me in the LinkedIn, or you have my you have my email, right? So whichever way you feel comfortable, anything you need. A lot of people still are psychic of asking question. So in case you are stuck somewhere, always drop email. I'll not tell what question you ask, right? And I'll help you with the supporting documentation or videos, whatever required. And that way we can be helpful, or I can be helpful, be some use, help you in your learning journey. Right? So thank you all for your time, and have a lovely weekend ahead. And let's connect tomorrow at same time. 12:30 would be our time. And tomorrow, remember, we'll focus on the capacity planning, compliances, right? Then the well architecture, few things. This again, our well architecture will come again, but brief idea about that. And then we'll get into the world of networking, VPC, firewalls. I'll start with the VPC and subnet and firewall, right? And gradually, week on week, we'll move to the each and every component, right? And focus would be more and more of hands-on or lab. So that's all for today. Thank you all for your time. I look forward to connect with you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.